Okay, we are live. We're live with Lisa. Lisa is a retail marketing expert who's going to shed some light today on the retail market and where it's going in 2020. Thank you all for watching on the Merge Media Facebook page, as well as the Business Owner Mastermind group. I'm going to hand the conch over to David Louch, who's going to introduce today's guest. David?
Awesome. Thank you, Jay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Merge Marketing Podcast with Jay and I today. We are recording this on October 30th, so happy Hallows Eve, and we hope you have a great Halloween. Today, we're pleased to welcome Lisa to the show. Lisa is a seasoned retail industry expert with over 20 years of experience. She has end-to-end knowledge of retail and navigated her way through the industry, leading high-impact teams across North America and Europe. She is a respected voice on topics such as responsible, sustainable retail, merchandising excellence, and the store of the future. She recently played a critical role in Accenture's retail strategy group, where she was responsible for consulting with fashion brands and retailers, providing insight on important topics such as speed to market, the future of retail operating models. Prior to joining Accenture, Lisa was based in London, where she was the buying director for Ralph Lauren, UK, Ireland, Scandinavia, and the Baltics. Fun fact about Lisa, she used to be the designer and designed all of the bags for FIFA World Cup 2002. Lisa, welcome to our show today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes,
you engaged me with that FIFA fact.
Yeah, sorry about that. And you know what? That's actually a really cool fact. So, what kind of bags are we talking about here that you designed for the FIFA World Cup, and where was it that year? I'm not a huge soccer fan.
I was, oh my God, I can't even remember.
Who are you cheering for? Who's your team? You must be England, right?
Yes, well, because I'm British, I usually would cheer for England. So I would say England. Yeah.
You're British. I couldn't sense the accent.
Yeah, I've lived pretty much everywhere. Back and forth, London, Toronto. I've lived in Vancouver. I've lived in the Congo.
Wow.
Really?
My family's from East Africa. So I would say I'm pretty well traveled.
I would say so.
Yes. And I'm glad that I got it all in before, the pandemic.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
That's true. David does a pretty good English accent. David, do you want to?
I don't. Oh. I've actually never done one before, so thanks for throwing me on the spot there. I'm super excited about today's topic. I know I've told you that in the past, Lisa. It's a topic that I hear discussed a lot because, in my opinion, despite COVID, the retail industry has been in for a long overdue wake-up call, I think, and shift in how they do things. And, I'm really looking forward to diving into that. So as our listeners heard in Lisa's intro, she has a wealth of knowledge in retail, but we're going to focus specifically on the future of retail shopping and business in today's episode, which is awesome. So I guess we'll start with the first question. And so looking back before the pandemic, what was the state of the retail world, and how would you describe the rate at which they adapted to change prior to COVID-19?
Well, the state of the world, from a retail perspective prior to COVID, I would say that a lot of retailers were dabbling in digitization, whether it was from a product creation perspective, but also from like the supply chain. So anything end to end, they were definitely looking at ways to digitize. Sustainability was still top of mind, which I would say it is still top of mind. As you know, the fashion industry is the biggest polluter right now. So, I mean, that's something that, has enabled the sustainability to be on the forefront of a lot of retailers' minds. But I would say the digital aspect has been accelerated due to COVID. A lot of the digitization processes, whether it's, while creating product using like 3D printing or a digital twin for marketing purposes, and then the AR and VR, as well as machine learning for optimizing product assortments. So I would say that the future is digital, but the future is also now. So you can see a lot of the brands moving towards online, which is where most of us are shopping these days.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a huge opportunity right now for retailers to kind of get out ahead in front of this, but it's sort of like a need to do this right now, is to partner up with digital agencies? We're starting to see this in the news now, where you have the likes of Ty Lopez, who's a huge digital maven, and he's now partnered up, or he purchased stocks in Pier 1 Imports, and now they're pushing Pier 1 completely digital and closing down all their shops. Is that a good play, would you say, for retailers, or is it maybe good to still have that sort of escapism that people can have now and going to a shopping center and purchasing things and the touchy-feely stuff?
Well, I think that's a pretty loaded question, because partnerships are absolutely the way forward. I mean, you look at Shopify partnering with TikTok the last few days. So I think that's a big shift to show us how retailers are moving towards social shopping, which is something that I think they were a little bit wary of, from Instagram Reels to now TikTok. So I think that the partnership aspect of retail brands and partnering with technology or fulfillment like Instacart, or unlikely brands partnering together like 7-Eleven and I think Forever 21. So I do think that partnerships, whether they're technology-based or fulfillment-based, are absolutely the way forward. You did mention shopping malls. So I think that's a good segue that we could talk about how shopping malls are also shifting the way that they're thinking about the future, whether it's offering more areas for curbside pickup, or I think Brookfield is right now using the Save Your Spot technology, where shoppers can actually save their spot in a retail store. So when they go shopping, they feel safe. Safety is the number one concern, where shoppers are worried, of course, for their safety with COVID-19. But sorry, you were going to say.
I was going to say, much like a restaurant. No, it's all good. No, it's much like a restaurant. It's crazy now that people actually have to make reservations to go shopping at a particular store or a shopping mall, right?
Yeah, it's not that they have to. I think that giving them that option allows for that additional safety feature to save their spot in the shopping mall. I think people are still quite nervous to go into a mall. I was at a mall the other day, and I have to say it was packed. And it was, I think, at the Amazon Prime Day was the accelerator of that, where people just started shopping early because retailers started promoting early. They want you to shop early. They want you to get it all done, because retailers may not be able to fulfill delivery times because of the increase in shopping online.
How can and you're more nose to the ground on this type of stuff, but in terms of Forever 21 and 7-Eleven, how are you seeing brands getting really creative and partnering up?
One of the things that, I haven't really seen how this could play out. I'm still a bit wary about this. Amazon Luxury. I think that's an interesting one, where Oscar de la Renta is featured as the luxury shopper, luxury brand on Amazon. But they haven't actually listed any others. This was, I think, announced back in September. I feel like if September was ages ago, definitely last month. So it's interesting, the partnerships that you'd never think of, like a luxury brand partnering with an Amazon, where luxury has been one of the most apprehensive type of retailers to get online. But I don't see a Gucci, suddenly being available on Amazon. But that being said, that's a good tie into the resale market, how that's booming right now with ThredUp and Poshmark. And of course, IKEA, they're opening their first resale store in the first resale mall outside Stockholm. So I think that there's a lot of interesting things happening in the future of retail.
Yeah, and we've kind of talked a little bit so far about like shopping centers and actual physical stores, and so I'm curious to know, like, what are your thoughts on, like, what will the role of a physical store be going forward, big and small? So like big, massive retailers like IKEA, as well as the mom and pop shops downtown, Toronto or Oakville or wherever it is that you live? What kind of role should these stores be playing in the future?
That's a great question. The role of the retail store it does need to evolve, and it is evolving. I think you can look at it in a few different ways, where if we look at like your Targets, Walmarts, Costco's of the world, where they're going to remain busy. They are seen as a place of transaction. And then you look at experiential retail, which is going to bring those shoppers into the store, like even a Winners, for example. There's lineups outside the store because that experience is the treasure hunt experience. You look at stores like Levi's. They're doing a lot for the digital shopper, and so is Nike, where they're actually having the seamless touch point from online, social shopping, and then in store, using that customer data to personalize the experience as the customer walks in the store. The way that a small business could possibly use that experiential retail to their advantage without, I know that they don't have the same spending power as like a Levi's does, but localization is something that a small business really has to their advantage. They have that sense of community and neighborhood. They can rally. They can actually speak to their customers and see what they want. So that's how they can optimize their assortment, offering curbside pickup, in-store pickup, localized delivery. I think there's a lot of ways that small and large retailers can still enable that physical shopping experience for the customer, but also keeping in mind the safety around COVID.
Yeah, and like it's so interesting to me because this is actually the thing that I hear the most when this topic is discussed, is that the shopping center, the physical store in the future is going to be more of an experience, right? So you're not necessarily going to go into the store and buy something, but you're going to go into the store so that you can see it, you can feel it, you can try it on, and then potentially order it right there from a screen within the change room, or go home and order it online, whatever it might be. But it's more of the experience.
Yes.
Because for me, I mean, and I might be old school, but I don't enjoy shopping online, especially buying clothes. I don't like it because I want to see it, I want to feel it. Everything fits differently, and I find that right now, anyways, the process of returning things online is terrible. I would actually rather get into my car, drive down to the store, and return it. I think it's a better experience and it's easier. So with that in mind, the whole experiential piece, how is that going to affect how many stores that these retailers have? Like if the experience or the role is really to go in and just kind of experience this feeling of what Nike is, and that's it. Is there going to be a need for 100,000 Nike stores, or is there going to be less?
I think that there are going to be less stores. I think that the stores are going to be more localized. Nordstrom is a great example. They are closing their large format stores, not a lot of them, but they are closing some stores. But then they're opening these smaller local stores. I think they just announced this week that they're opening 2 more. So they are absolutely growing. I believe that there is a space for that physical store. And when I talk about the experience in retail, it doesn't only mean how does the product make you feel, how does the store make you feel, but it also involves that the sales people, your frontline workers, them upping their game to increase that level of customer service, which is also part of that experiential retail.
So one of the things we talked about there a second ago, Lisa, is the supporting small businesses versus the big box stores. And there's a huge push online, support local, support small businesses. Psychologically speaking, how effective do you think that is? Or do you think people are just naturally going to go to the big box stores because they're going to choose convenience over and cheaper price over anything else?
I think that a lot of people are choosing to support their small local businesses. You see that with small businesses partnering with other small businesses in terms of offering delivery solutions or offering that sense of community. I think that humans, we still need that. You know, we can't just sit at our computers or on our phones and shop all day, because it's not a viable solution for us, because we are humans and we do require some sort of physical, like you said, David, like you don't want to always just shop on, you don't like to shop online at all. So, you know, you are my perfect customer because you are going to come into my store.
Yeah.
But I do think that small businesses do have that advantage where they can rally to bring their communities together. The sense of neighborhood, I think, is so important. And that just ties into what technology is doing to help these smaller retailers like the Shopifys of the world, where they're allowing these small retailers to get online. They're using fourth party fulfillment centers. So they do have the ability to avoid the negotiating with the FedExes and the UPSs of the world or the Canada Post.
Can you touch on that? What's fourth party? What do you mean by fourth party?
Fourth party is so basically you go through like a Shopify, for example, and you don't have your own distribution center. So back in the day when I used to be a buyer for Club Monaco, I had NLS was my third party shipping distribution center. I didn't own that distribution center, but I owned a bit of this, like I had a bit of the space of that distribution center. To avoid all that, Shopify has created a space where these small retailers can actually take advantage of a 3PL, like a third party shipping, without going to negotiate these, big spaces or negotiating with a FedEx or etc. So I think it allows for them to do that.
Who didn't have a Club Monaco sweatshirt? Like,
I hope you still do.
David, so we're aging ourselves now because
I know, right?
I think it must have been probably the mid 90s to late 90s where I think every single person had a Club Monaco sweatshirt.
Definitely.
Not hoodie, sweatshirt.
It had to be the crew neck, the round neck. Yeah.
Iconic.
Yes. They've actually made a comeback for men anyway. Not so much for the women. But yeah. You can find them in store.
I think I'm gonna get a hoodie. Not a hoodie, sorry, a sweatshirt. I'm gonna get.
Yes.
They have those classic ones, right?
They do, the gray, Heather gray.
Okay, yes, but they got to be like kind of vintage. It's got to have that vintage feel to it,
yes,
though, too, right?
It does. I agree. Yes.
Because if I still had my Club Monaco sweatshirt, for sure I'd be wearing it like every single weekend.
Yes, you would rock that right now. I think that
Sure.
the way people are shopping is so different, right? Like you want that comfort as well. Yeah. Like, I mean, the way people are buyers are projecting their categories, what they're selling. I mean, Nikes, Lululemons of the world, activewear, athleisure, comfort. That's where we're headed. So definitely go get that Club Monaco sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Go
ahead, Jay.
Nope. Yeah, I was going to switch gears for a second and talk a little bit about, because we're heavily involved in the affiliate marketing space. So, I think there's a lot of opportunity for, entrepreneurs to take their shops and make them digital on a smaller scale. And, the likes of Amazon have actually angered a lot of affiliates because of cutting back on those commission fees. The commission percentages have been cut back. Mm-hmm. So do you see a lot of opportunities in that space for smaller retailers to open up affiliate programs, to have maybe people online starting up online stores to support those brick and mortar stores?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've recently learned about Walmart, and they have a marketplace similar to an Amazon, but they're partnering with Shopify to help those smaller retailers to help build up their brands, because the Amazons of the world do take a pretty large percentage, just like with restaurants and Uber.
Yeah.
Walmart's trying to help the smaller businesses.
Yeah, they are in their marketplace. So they have marketplace like an Amazon has marketplace, where they allow these smaller retailers to help them push their brands. So instead of opening your own store through, a Wix, platform or a DreamHost or whatever the case is, you're able to actually sell on a marketplace that maybe is not as expensive as an Amazon. I haven't looked at all the costs, but I know that this partnership has happened, which I think is really good for Walmart as well.
It is. And like, because it's relatively new, I think. I've been seeing a lot about it recently and reading up on it here and there. But correct me if I'm wrong. Historically, for small businesses or startup companies that have a product, it's been tough to get into Walmart. Like, to get space, they've basically been cutthroat, right? So it's really good to see that they're kind of making a platform for the small businesses and giving them an opportunity to sell their products and actually make a decent amount,
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I think that's why I do think that COVID has not only accelerated retailers to get online and to have that seamless shopping experience across all channels, but I do think that retailers are rallying together as well, to support small business, to support those local brands, because I think that shopping local, just for me, as on a personal level, is so important. Like, even if you look at grocery, you go to your local Loblaw or No Frills or Metro, you'll always see that they're pushing local produce, because it is actually easier for us to go directly to a farm and shop through like a Country Boys or a Butcher Box, where we can actually get product directly from the source. But grocery has stepped up their game, and they are allowing a lot more local, fresh vendors to advertise in their store and market in their stores.
You're right. Like, they have stepped up their game, and a lot of businesses have. And we've spoken a lot about technology specifically so far in this episode of major retailers and even smaller retailers making the shift over to digital, which maybe they probably wouldn't have done so quickly without COVID. But even like, digital aside, just like simple things like curbside pickup, for example, for groceries, for buying shoes at Sport Chek or whatever it might be, like, that is not technology. But you now look at it and you're like, how did that not exist before? Yeah,
exactly. And it's standard now.
Yeah.
I mean, even the buy online, pickup in store, BOPIS is the acronym. So if you see it around, that's what I mean. It's standard now. So what is not standard are the digital tools that are available for, let's say, the sales team, your front line, to talk to, let's say, your supply chain and understand how much inventory you actually have, and can you fulfill in store to save on that shipping cost from DC to customer. So there's a lot of ways that retailers can be more innovative, especially the small retailers, without investing so much in that digital technology. I mean, even connecting with their customer through FaceTime. Like, there's so many things that you can do with what you already have existing.
What on the smaller scale, some of these smaller businesses that you're a customer of, Lisa, like what are maybe three of those things, 2 to 3 of those things that make those smaller businesses more successful than the others? What's going to help their longevity, and what's going to help them survive through all of this?
I would say the number one thing is having that two-way communication with their customer. If you are small, you have the ability to reach your customer quickly, one-on-one, either through a phone call or a video call. I mean, having that relationship with your customer is key, and that's going to help them invest in you rather than shop at an Amazon, a Walmart, those bigger brands. So I think that relationship is key. Definitely having an online presence, I think, is absolutely a must-have. I think that if you don't have an online presence, I think that could kill you. Digital is absolutely the way forward. And whether it's just to pre-shop and then go to the store and pick it up, or just understand what the assortment is, and the customer can give feedback. I think having that relationship with the customer is number one, your key to success.
Yeah, that's interesting. I love that, because that's it. That's exactly what I do. I pre-shop online, and then I go and I find it, and it's the greatest thing. So what we've spoken a lot about is, you've mentioned quite a bit direct to consumer, and it's something we hear all the time, is that brands are popping up that sell water bottles, for example, and rather than going to their local department stores or wherever and trying to get their product in there to sell it, they're just going direct to consumer with their water bottle. So with that being said, what do you think the role of the department store will be in the future? Do you think they will exist? Because if we're pushing direct to consumer, there won't really be a need, because ideally all of these smaller direct to consumer companies are going to be on digital, and you'll be able to easily get their product. You won't need to go to Walmart.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
That's a great question. The role of the department store, it allows a customer to shop across brands, across product categories, where if you go directly to a DTC brand, let's say, I don't know, I can't even think of one right now, but let's say you go direct to a DTC brand, you only have that brand in your cart. Yeah. If you go to a department store, you have choice. I think that's the difference. And I also think a lot of customers are looking for not only the best price, but the fastest delivery. If you do go to a department store, they may be able to offer a lot more in terms of promotional activity, offering more sales, more discounts, if that's what you're looking for. And of course, choice. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. So you don't think they're going anywhere? No,
I don't think so. I think that they're evolving.
Yeah.
I think when you go into a department store now, you're going to see a lot less people. You're going to see the social, physical distancing. You're going to see less product, because I think that a lot of brands are, and they should, reduce the amount of SKUs that they have a tighter assortment, have things that are more seasonless, so that you have less inventory. I think that we're such big polluters in the retail industry. So I do think that because sustainability is on the forefront, I do see that happening, where you're buying less for your retailer or department store or whatever the case is. So I do think that department stores are not going anywhere, but I do think that they have to evolve, just like any retailer.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Perfect. Well, Jay, did you have anything that you wanted to wrap up with?
Yeah, Lisa, if our audience has any questions for you, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
I would say LinkedIn would possibly be the best way. I am launching my retail consultant practice, so all the information should be on there. Yeah.
Awesome. Yes, definitely connect with Lisa on LinkedIn. Her and I are connections, and she puts out a ton of great content. So that's great. Lisa, we really appreciate you being on the show today. And we end our show every single week with the same question. And that is, if you could choose one person, dead or alive, to represent your brand, who would it be and why?
Ooh, that's good. That's good. I would say...
Long gulp.
Because I have so many ideas right now. Yeah. I would say, oh God, this is so hard. This is really hard. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really want to say Coco Chanel, because she's been an inspiration for my entire career. But yeah, let's go with Coco Chanel.
I think that's a great selection, and one we haven't had yet. So that is also awesome. Well, thanks again for joining us today, and we look forward to chatting with you again soon.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Another great episode talking retail, man. Like it's funny because retail is one of these things that one thing I hate about buying online is having to wait to get it. Yeah. It's one of the things I hate the most. I can't stand it. Even if I have Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And I can get it next day.
I agree. But when you make that decision, like, I want a new I don't know, pair of shoes. You know the ones that you want. You can get them on Amazon tomorrow, but you could also just drive down the street and get them now. And I'm the same way. That's why I don't like shopping online, because yeah, you got to wait a couple days, and then and really for me, like I said before, the return. What are your thoughts on returning things? Because to me, it's just seems like a freaking nightmare.
Yeah, to be honest, I rarely out of everything I've bought, and I've probably only returned maybe about 2% of everything I buy. And
even clothes? Like, do you order clothes?
The thing is, I typically don't buy clothes for myself. I rarely do. Clothes for me is like gifts, Christmas time, and birthday. Like, I just don't have. I don't know. Maybe it's just something I don't really prioritize or enjoy going out there and having an experience by trying on clothes, fitting clothes, and all that type of stuff. But I'm also a terrible shopper. I'm the worst shopper. I'm an instinct buyer. So, you know, I go shopping, and when I see something I want to get, I contemplate, should I buy it? I walk around the mall a little more. Man, 5 hours later, I'm walking out with this $20 product. It's just, you know what I mean? It's just like, but I didn't even need it. At the end of the day, I just leaving there because I feel like I needed that day to be productive. So I'll buy something and I'll take it home, but I'll never use it. This happens too much. I'm self-aware that I'm a crappy shopper, and I just don't shop if I don't need to. I shop out of necessity.
So what are you going to do this holiday season? What have you done in the past? Have you gone to a mall, a couple days before Christmas, for example, and bought all of your gifts?
You ever been to the mall on December 24th? Not gonna lie, take a look at the demo.
Yeah, no doubt.
95% men.
Yep.
Swear. Go. Just walk. Check it out.
Yeah, right? I've never done it, but my dad does it every single year. It's crazy. I'm way more organized than that. But I still will go to the mall this year to shop. I still will, because it's those things that you don't know that you want to buy for somebody, that you could only find if you're in a mall and in stores looking around like, oh, wow, look at that. That would be great for this person. And I was going to get them this, but this is way better. But you never would have known if you weren't there.
Is a part of that has to do with, because you could simply browse online and Google things. Is it part of the experience as well as like that sort of hunt that you're looking for something and then you find something and there's some sort of sentimental appreciation to it because of the experience and finding it in this, in this store?
The hunt, yes. The sentimental, no. Because it doesn't necessarily have to be sentimental, but you could be walking around a mall and find a store that you didn't know existed. So you wouldn't have known to go online and look for it, but yet the perfect gift for the perfect person was in it.
But they would never know if you got it online or in the store. So why does that matter? You know what I mean? Like, Like, you could probably find that online is what I'm saying. You can do window shopping can be done online.
But I may not have known what I was looking for.
Okay. I see you. Okay. Interesting. Anyway, food for thought, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. No, very good. But I'll tell you what, I will see you in the malls probably on December 23rd, because by that time it's too late to online shop. So I have no choice but to go to the malls.
Yeah. And that's the thing I'm hearing also with the final tip for today is get your Christmas shopping done like now. Because apparently they're saying everything is going to sell out much sooner and quicker than in past years this year. So,
well, on that note, thank you all for listening in, watching, tuning in wherever you are. Don't forget to rate 5 stars, subscribe, and tell all of your friends. That would be much appreciated.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. And until next time, keep it in the fast lane.
Ooh, not bad. All right, we'll work with it.